Okay, Samantha, are you ready for the rapid fire questions?
Yes, I think so. I think I'm
Okay.
ready for this.
These are the questions that I ask everybody that comes onto the show. So, question number one: what is your number one piece of advice that you'd give to someone just starting out on YouTube?
You have to be yourself. You cannot, do something that someone else is already doing. That person already exists. They don't want to see another so and so. You have to be you and be yourself, and that's just it. Just be you, because no one can replicate you, and no one can be you. That's the number one thing. Just stay true to yourself, and people will love you for you.
How do you feel like you've been you on your channel?
I think with my style, that's, the approach that I have with my viewers. I think that is, just being me and sharing the things that I love. Not everyone will agree with a 20-year-old dressing this way, but you know what? That's me, and that's what makes me feel, confident and beautiful. And those are the things I love to share with women and I've done men too. And I think that's what's allowed me to stay true to myself. These are the pieces that I love, and when I put them on, they make me feel amazing, and that's what I will keep doing. And with my viewers, is just prioritizing, having that connection with them, and that's what's allowed me to stay true to myself. And I will just keep doing that, I guess.
I do forget sometimes in watching your channel that you are only 20 because your style is, I'm in my 30s and I look at you and I'm like, gosh, I need to dress more like that. I mean, she's so sophisticated and classy, and it's incredible the way that you dress. It's really beautiful. Where did you learn to
Thank you.
dress like that?
Um, oh gosh, I know. I mean, my mom has amazing style. I love her style. She's, I would say, a little bit more edgy than me. But like I said, I was always into fashion when I was younger. I was always flipping through some sort of magazine or book. I'm very into history. Like I said, I'm studying history. So for me, it was, looking at older photographs, whether it was Dior. And I think as I grew up, I really just started to develop this sense of how I like to dress. I know at one point we traveled to Spain, and I fell in love with this European style of it's the sneakers with a very kind of dressed up outfit. I love that look, and I just love this idea of just feeling amazing, and still being comfortable and being able to go out and kind of having the best of both worlds. So I think I had that kind of initial passion for fashion, where I would kind of, research it and look at outfits that were, created. And then as I grew older, I kind of started really actually wearing those things that I was admiring. And that's kind of where I think that style developed.
Who are your biggest style inspirations?
Um, when it comes to fashion, I would say a good mix of Dior and Chanel. And I think I've always said Dior. Actually, a viewer asked me about this a couple days ago. We had a nice conversation, but Dior has this beautiful mix of, a suit and a blazer with this feminine skirt. I think that's their classic look. And I love that idea. You can be a businesswoman, you can be a power woman, but you can still be feminine and beautiful. And then, I love to add a modern twist. You know what? We're moms, there's grandmas. We got to be on the go. We can't be wearing heels all the time, and that's okay. And so I think that's where my love of sneakers come in. And so I just have this, kind of love of a very, powerful but feminine look. And then when it comes to other styles, I think there are so many creators from the UK that I love, and they're all so unique in their own style, and that's what I admire about them. So, I think that's kind of
Anyone
my
specifically?
insight. I would say, who do I watch the most? I'm trying to think of who do I watch the most. Josie London, she's such a sweetheart. There's also In the Fro, so Victoria. Lydia is another amazing person. Those three are just three women that bring so much light. And Patricia Bright is another amazing
Love
creator from
her.
the UK. All, yeah, right? Just amazing women all around. So yeah, I think those four, I think, are four that I love just really watching and, looking up to.
Yeah, I had Lydia on the show. I've been trying to get Patricia Bright for years because I
Oh my, you
love
have
her,
to.
and it just hasn't happened. So if Patricia's out
Oh,
there, would love to have you.
yeah,
I love
Patricia,
her.
please come on.
I
I
love
would even
her.
just like come on. She
Yeah,
brings so much joy to my life. She, what, her content is the content I
it's
go to,
good.
and I'm just like, I need someone to just, bring some light into my life, because there is not a single video that doesn't make me smile from her.
What is the number one regret you have when it comes to your entire YouTube career? I mean, for you, you don't have a very long career, but what is the no the number one regret you have so far?
Regrets. Let's see. I would say, I guess it's not a regret, but it's something that I have thought about is how long it took me to figure out how to handle negative comments. Negative comments can be really, really hard to deal with, and it did take me quite some time to learn how to deal with them. I think a lot of us love to just say, "Oh, don't let it get to you." It's not that easy. Okay, it's easier said than done. And I think every individual person really has to figure out what works for them and how to approach those kind of negative comments because they can be very nasty. They really can be. And I think that was the one thing that took me a very long time to figure out how to kind of navigate. And sometimes looking back, I wish I would have, figured that out earlier, but I guess you can't. I guess it was a process that had to happen on its own. But that is the one thing that I wish I would have learned to deal with earlier because now I'm in a place where I feel so good and I feel confident dealing with those negative situations. And yeah, it's just so much easier now that I know what works for me individually. So yeah.
So what do you do to deal with that?
So it depends on the platform, but for the most part, I have on YouTube at least I have a 3 strike system. I've chatted about this before. So, now on YouTube you can actually see previous comments that a person has left, and for the most part, if they're just opinions, I love opinions. Okay, women having opinions is so important, and I'm all here for women sharing their opinions, whether I agree with them or not. But when someone is just being flat out nasty, where like to the point where it's harassment, you get a strike. Once you've hit 3 strikes, you are just, blocked. You're removed from being able to interact with my community because not only does that impact me, but it impacts my viewers too. I don't need my viewers to come out and be arguing with a person and defending me. That's not what they're there for. They're there to just come on here and watch videos and enjoy themselves, have a cup of tea. And so that is kind of the one thing I do. The other thing that I've found really works for me is having a set response. So, at the beginning, I would sit down for the longest time and trying to formulate this perfect response for a negative comment, whether to, justify myself or defend myself. And after some time, it was like, what? I don't need to do that. And so having a set response, like, thank you for sharing your opinion or whatever it may be, whatever works for the creator, has made my life so much easier. I just, if I read a comment that makes me just, it brings something out in me that I'm like, I just have a set response. I type it in, they get their response, and I move on with my life. And that's allowed me to just really not let those negative comments get to me because, even spending 10, 15 minutes dwelling on a comment is allowing that person to take time out of your day and life to impact you way beyond, those few words. And I think that's something that people don't realize. And so that having that set response has been honestly so amazing. It's just been really, really, really helpful in that sense.
What video are you most proud of and why?
I would still say, I think it would be my first video. I think the first video is always the hardest. It was the one where, looking back, it still makes me kind of cringe. But, I was nervous. You could tell in that video. But the first video is always the hardest. You never know how you're going to be received. I was so new. I didn't know what to say. It was so incredibly long. But it was, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for that first video. And I think I will forever have that video on my channel because I think it shows where I started, and I'm so proud of Sam back then who had the courage to do that because it is scary to publish your first video, absolutely. And so that is the video that I would say I'm proud of myself for doing that, and I'm glad I did because now I'm here.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Yeah, that's it.
How much did YouTube pay you for your highest viewed video? And what is your highest viewed video and how many views?
Yeah, so my highest viewed video, I just had to pull it up here, is actually my capsule wardrobe. So this was published back in, I think it was October. That one, up until this day, I've earned $2,800 on that video, and it's gotten 495,000 views. So that was my best video up until today. And it was a funny video because it was a capsule wardrobe, which meant I did somewhere around 40 outfits. And that was the one video my mom wasn't there to help me. So I'm kind of low-key proud of it because, 40 outfits in one day is a lot of outfits to change in and out of. And I managed to do it. And I feel like, well, the hard work paid off because after, all those outfits, it did really well and people really loved it. And it's a video I'm really proud of too. I think I love all the outfits and I think we're so true to my style. Yeah, so that's the video that everyone really loved.
Well, congrats. That's awesome. What is your biggest challenge when it comes to YouTube?
My biggest challenge, it's funny. I think the biggest challenge is really balancing it out. And I think, at one point I was working part time and I was still in school. I'm still in school and doing that. And I think the hardest part for me was balancing it all, and not getting burnt out. I think at one point I did get burnt out, and that was quite hard, because there was so much and we only have so many hours in a day. And I think, balancing out Instagram and editing and admin. And then, as soon as your followership grows, then now you have to deal with brands reaching out. So there's another aspect, another responsibility that is kind of added to your timetable. And I think being able to balance those things and prioritize was really hard to, and I mean, it's still something that I'm working towards, but I think, yeah, having that balance, that I think work-life balance was really hard because it's like, okay, I'm studying, now I'm editing. Okay, but when do I have time to just do something for myself? And I think that was the hardest thing. And it's something that I'm right now is a priority of mine, is to just really get that work-life balance. Especially with social media, it is something that social media doesn't close on Saturdays and Sundays. Okay. It is open for business 7 days a week, 24/7. And so it's hard to disconnect. And I think that was, again, that work-life balance is really, really hard when you're always connected. And that's, I think, been the hardest thing, is finding that balance with everything.
Yeah. What is the biggest opportunity you got as a result of being on YouTube?
Oh, what's the biggest opportunity? Let's see. On YouTube. Honestly, I would say YouTube was the one thing that I think really helped my Instagram grow. And through that, I've gotten so many amazing partnerships. And specifically with YouTube, recently I worked with Ren Skincare. And this is a partnership that I am so, so proud of, because this is a brand that I just am so passionate about. I love their products. And, through Instagram and YouTube, I like to kind of link them together because they do kind of work side by side. They reached out to me and they wanted to work with me, and that was such a proud moment. I even shared with my viewers, and they knew that at one point back when I started, I had made a comment saying, one day I will work with this brand and we will throw a party because it'll be an exciting day. And I just love that my viewers remembered that. And I think that is an opportunity that, came about, through that. But I would say my second answer is something that I never thought would come out of YouTube, is being able to meet so many people and learn about so many different, cultures, experiences, countries. It's something that I am so grateful for. I get to interact with women every single day, and, they tell me their life stories. And it's just so inspiring to learn about all these women and men. There's some men too. And it's the one thing that I never thought would come out of YouTube. And it is an opportunity, to get to know what life is like here and, and in this country. And then, women of all ages, some are moms, some are grandmas, some are, girls my age who are going through the same thing as me. And that is such an amazing opportunity that I was offered through YouTube that I never even thought I would love as much as I do.
Yeah, I love that. You kind of mentioned this a little bit, but I don't know if there's, any non-fashion related, but who are your favorite YouTube creators to watch as a viewer?
As a viewer, okay, let's see. Patricia Bright, I think Patricia Bright, she brings so much joy. I feel like I have a creator for different moods. Who have I been watching recently? Alana Davison. She is also from Canada. Again, another person who just brings so much joy into my life. Lydia Millen, I think she is such a sweetheart as well. I love watching her. Josie, her two dogs are such sweet dogs. But yeah, I think those are some of my favorite creators. Same with Indafro. She is amazing with all her fashion as well. So I think those are the creators that I love to watch. And I think the reason I love to watch them is that they all offer something completely different, and they are also like they're just so themselves, right? They stay true to who they are, and I admire each and every one of them for that. And I think, those are the ladies that I go to.
What is your number one tip for coming up with new video ideas?
I would say it's a hard question. I would say you have to block off everything that is going on around you, because I think with new videos, you also have to stay true to who you are. So I think for me, when I'm trying to come up with new video ideas, I try to look inwards. Okay, what is working for me? What is bringing me joy right now? I can't be focused on what so and so is doing, if I'm trying to create a new video, because this video is not about them, it's about me. So I think taking that time to sit and say, okay, what am I passionate about right now? What is bringing me joy? What parts of the content that I'm creating is working for me and my viewers? And so I think taking that time to kind of block everything else around me and just focusing on myself, my content, and my viewers is what really helps me to create kind of new videos. That process of just being creative really, is what, yeah, that's the process for me.
Has that been the process for you since the beginning?
Absolutely, yeah. It's funny because even, with shopping, my mom and I would be out and we'd pick an item and it's like, oh, so and so already shared this. Okay, move on. Let's block ourselves. What do we like? Who am I? What is my style? And I think that process is yeah, it's just staying true to myself, and it's what's allowed me to share things that aren't already out there. That dress has already been shown 5 times. Why am I going to show it? Like, let's be new, let's be original. And I think that has really, really worked, and it's allowed me to stay true, again, just to myself.
So when you say you block, do you consciously not look at social media or watch YouTube videos when you're planning? Or what do you mean specifically when you say block out?
Yeah. So yeah, sometimes it is just not, immersing myself in the social media world and just focusing. Other times it just means being very aware of what is going on out there and being mindful that I'm not copying full out. I'm saying, okay, if that's done, okay, let's try something else. So we're going to block that. We're going to push it off to the side, and we're going to see how we can do something completely different. So you really just have to be mindful that you're not constantly doing the exact same thing that everyone else is doing. And that's what I mean by block. It's just kind of looking inwards and saying, sometimes I'll just have to look at my wardrobe and say, okay, what needs to happen here for something new to emerge? So yeah, sometimes it really is just not watching content from other people. And I know I've had to do that sometimes, and it allows me to get more creative with myself, for sure.
Why do you think people watch your channel?
It's a question I always like to ask myself, but I don't know fully. I guess one of the things is fashion. I think people do like the way I dress, and I think it's something that it's a style that I think a lot of different age groups can resonate with. And then it's always really nice when I have other girls my age reaching out saying, I have never related to someone more, because I never feel like people my age dress this way, and it's so relatable. And yet at the same time, I have women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s reaching out and saying, you have such a timeless style. You really do dress in a way that I love to dress. And I think having that style that is just so kind of accessible to so many people has made it really relatable. That's one thing. I think another thing too is being Latina, and it's something that I never kind of thought about too much, but I was born in Venezuela. I moved here in 2007. So I do have that kind of Latin American background, and I think a lot of women have related to that. It's like seeing this non-stereotypical Latina, I guess you could say, dressing a certain way. And I think it's been really relatable for a lot of women. And that's something that I didn't really expect too much when I started. But I think it's something that a lot of women have related to and really do enjoy. And I think that's part of the reason why they do watch. So yeah, I would say those are my 2 answers for that.
I love that. I'm Latina as well, and I love seeing other
I love that. Yeah.
Latina
And
women
it's like,
doing well. Yeah. I love it.
Growing up, I didn't really see too many Latinas on screen. I think it was like J-Lo and maybe a couple other creators, but there just weren't many who were just sharing their lives and being successful, kick-ass women. It just wasn't there. I don't know if I can say that, but
I think it's fine.
So yeah, it's cool. I think a lot of women can relate to that, and then I wish there was more. We should do more.
I love it. What is your superpower that has contributed to your success?
Superpower. Interesting. I would say is my passion. I think I am so passionate about this job. And I think some people, I think there are some people who could potentially get into this for the wrong reasons, but I think it is a hard job. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And I think if you're not passionate about it, I don't know how far into it you're going to get, because you will get, burnt out. And when you do get burnt out, you got to have that passion behind it to push you through that. And, there are dips where you're not doing well and you're not gaining like followers or subscribers. So what do you do in those moments of non-success? You have to have that passion and drive. And I think, how passionate I am about my viewers and my fashion and this kind of content creating is what's really just allowed for all the success. And I'm so grateful for it every day. I love it. I wake up every morning excited to do this job. Mondays used to be meh, and now I love Mondays because it means I get to wake up and do this job, and I get to film, and I get to vlog, and I get to reply to comments, and it's something that I truly just love. And I think that's what's really just allowed me to be so successful with what I do every day.
Well, Samantha, you have a huge, huge future ahead of you. You are just in the beginning stages, and I'm sure you'll be at 1 million subscribers, and I would love for you to come back at that point, because
I'd love to come
I
back.
see a huge future for you on YouTube. For people that aren't familiar with you and your channel, where can they find you?
Yeah, so on YouTube, I am Samantha Guerrero. You can find me there. I am also very present on Instagram, so Samantha Guerrero _ That is my Instagram handle. Yeah, you can always find me there posting about my fashion and my loves of life and my passions. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Samantha.
Thank you so much, Erika. It's been so lovely.
Bye.
See you.